Hello, YouTubers, diecast collectors. It's Jared White, the J-Man63. Today, I have a really cool review of a car that does not get much attention on YouTube. That is the G Machines 1/18 scale 70 Chevelle SS. This is actually a really cool piece. G Machines were a tad different from the regular 1/18 scale line. I think the front end steers, there's somewhat of a play in the steering there. You can't really steer the front end that much because of these big wheels, but why do they call these cars G Machines? An interesting factoid. Well, it's because the G-force that when these cars would turn, they have modern suspension equipment, a lot of modern upgrades. The front end looks really nice. Glad they had that black chrome grille. This certainly is a lot nicer than the GTO. You can see the rear taillights are squared off. I do prefer the rounded taillights. I kind of wish they'd gone with that look instead. You can see the big muffler cannons, and actually they did decide to do chrome exhaust, which is a big upgrade over the GTO. The fact that they have some chrome underneath of this car makes it a lot better. I would say so far, based on what I've looked at, I give this car a full 7 out of 10. My rating system has become a lot more strict since a lot of reviews that I've done, but this car is actually a lot better than the GTO. Starting out with the exterior, you have the various shaped badges. We can actually look underneath the hood if I can get this hood open. I don't want to force it open because it's going to break the hinges. And I found more with these hoods, the more you force them to open up, the more that they don't want to stay in the upright position. But the motor is actually really dang nice. You can actually see through to the bottom, and look at that. They even have the master cylinder in there. That's a lot nicer motor than what the GTO had on it, and you can actually see a forced induction system on there. They've actually done a real good job with this car for some reason, and I can't quite pinpoint it, but they have really outdone themselves on this 1/18th. I can't think why the GTO was kind of a letdown. Look at how nice these G Machines are. If I can close the hood now without breaking the dang hinge. I don't really like to force these hoods open. Interior, let's see this interior. I paid $50 for this car. Let's see where my money went to. I don't recommend paying more than that for this, by the way. But look at the interior. It's really nicely done up. You even got racing buckets, which are really cool. You got a roll cage. And with G Machines, they really went more all out on these. Steering does work, but I think it only works a fraction of what it would if it had smaller wheels. I can tell there's play. I can tell there's a semi-decent amount of play in the steering. I can tell there's a steering bar, but they don't want to steer. In here, and I'm surprised there's actually a back seat, but that just must mean that this is part of the stock casting. But they've done a really good job replicating what you would see on a SEMA show, resto mod kind of interior. Even the door panels are pretty nice. So yeah, this is a step up from the letdown that the West Coast Customs car was. I didn't really expect much. I might sell that West Coast Customs car or trade for a G Machine if anybody wants to, but that's just like, that car was kind of meh. This one is actually a lot better in terms of the, look at, they've even got the speakers in the back, which is really dang cool. And my friend is about to come over, so I'm probably not going to wind up doing another review. But then we get to the underside, and look at how they have done this. It could have been, now I'll admit they could have painted silver in the drive shaft, okay. But look, we have a chrome oil pan. We have chrome where it should be. We have a nice amount of chrome. The tranny pan may not be silver, and it might be a lot of black underneath here, but they've actually done a really dang good job on this car. And you can see where it wants to steer, but the wheels are really blockaded. You can see it's got steering in the front, but it don't quite want to steer. But it's really cool. Machines are probably a little cut above the regular 1/18th, but this is actually a nicer model than a lot of the 1/18th Hot Wheels that I have seen. And this car doesn't get enough appreciation on YouTube because I don't see people reviewing these, which is nice to see an actual. I'm sure for some of you it's nice to see a review of this car being done. And it's a cool model. I wouldn't recommend spending more than $50 for it. I know people want astronomical amounts for the 1/18th scale. I only bought this because it was a really cool looking Chevelle and it was a really cool year. I like the hood scoops they did on it. So there were a lot of nice things about this car, a lot of casting changes that they did. So it was nice the fact that Hot Wheels kind of put a little more of a stamp on it. The fact the underside is nicely done with the chrome. The tranny pan may not be done up, but I prefer there to at least be chrome underneath here and the underside to be done up, unlike the plain Janeness of the GTO. Love it. Yes, it is 1/18th scale. Tim Davis. Yes, it is a 1/18th. But it is very nice if you go back and watch the start. I'll show you what's underneath the hood. If I can force these hinges up a little more. I don't want to force these any more than they're being forced because these hinges are actually very solid and I don't want to ruin that fitment. But yeah, the engine is actually very nice. They've done a good job getting the master cylinder, and they may not have wiring and plumbing like you expect on a GMP, and it is kind of a big chrome block, and if you look closer, there are a few things that are not going to be exactly up to par for a lot of you detail freaks, but it isn't too bad. It's actually a lot nicer than the GTO. At least you can see all the way through to the ground on the motor, but they've done a good job. I'm trying to get the hood to shut, and if I force that hinge, I'm nervous I'm going to break it, so I'm not trying to force anymore. These hinges are very solid, by the way. That's probably the caveat strength of these Hot Wheels, is that they get very strong hinges. I'm doing a 20 Welly Cougar Eliminator Resto mod myself. Nice, thank you for commenting. Yeah, they've actually done a good job on these interiors. The interior is where this car really shines at. I think the motor bay is where this car really shines at too. So the only thing that lets this car down, again, with the Hot Wheels 1/18th, is the underside, but still, it's a lot better than just having a plain black slab. They've done a good job on the underside. They've got chrome and everything where it should be. Yes, that tranny pan could be silver. Yes, that drive shaft could be silver, but I'm not going to nitpick it too much. It is a good display piece if you're just going to leave it on your shelf and you're not going to put mirrors underneath of it. But don't expect GMP level detailing out of a 1/18th Hot Wheels. That's what I will say. But the fact that I didn't pay too much for this, I paid $40, $50, it was like $55 with like some shipping and handling, but I didn't pay a whole lot. But I would like to get more of the G machines, of course. After the West Coast Customs car, I'll buy it for the wheels. LOL. No, I'm not selling it. I like it too much. I'm not going to sell it, man. That is sweet looking Chevelle, my man. Hewitt's Hot Wheels says it's a sweet looking Chevelle. Thank you, Hewitt, for joining in. It is nice and it is cool. I would consider getting rid of the West Coast Customs car for the wheels because that's not really my favorite 1/18th Hot Wheels, but I'd consider getting rid of that West Coast Customs GTO. If you watched it on my channel, I might consider parting way with that because it's not real. That would be more for a parts car, but this one I want to keep whole because it is an interesting model. would probably wind up getting rid of the GTO, and that's got decent size wheels on it too, but they're more like the turbine style. But this one is actually really nice. I appreciate the level of detailing that went into this, and it's a really good model. So if you're going to pick it up, I recommend, $40 maybe is the low point, $50 the high. I've seen the G machines go for really high money, but I don't think they're worth all that. But the orange is very nice. The paint jobs on these Hot Wheels 1/18th are strikingly nice. The GTO I'm not so sure about. I might consider getting rid of that in favor of more of these G machines because they are that much nicer than a lot of the other 1/18th. The trunk, of course, does not open in case you're just tuning in. No opening trunk. That's the only letdown of this car. But then again, a lot of the Ertls didn't have that either. So if you want a car with an opening trunk, you're going to have to usually pay up a lot more. But they have gotten a lot of good detail in this car, which is really good. The orange is nice. In case Hewitts is just tuning in, I will show off the motor one more time. I don't like to force the hinges open too much, but I have to grab this in the exact right spot for the hinge actually. Here's the motor. Again, it is pretty much a big chrome piece, but most of these show cars, that's what I picture being in there. It's nice that they've actually done a lot more than the average. Yeah, no problem. I don't mind showing off the engine again. The interior in the engine, I think, on this car, if you're a Resto Mod fan, that's generally what you want to see. That's the reason I bought. I'm trying to not force it, but I can just hear that hinge creaking. I'm trying to get it to shut. The doors do open on this. The interior is actually a really nice part of this car. A nice chrome roll bar, the steering wheel. It looks really dang cool. I'm trying to see if they got the gauges. Yeah, they got the gauges in there. They've done a really good job here. And I think, I'm going to say this is an automatic, but you got the pedals in there. They've got a really good interior work on this. So again, there's a few things that put this car over the GTO where I give this car maybe a 7 and 8 in terms of the work they've done. I only give it a 10 because it's not exactly GMP level of detailing, but it is nice. The only thing that lets it down is the underside. If they've maybe included silver in the training pan and stuff like that. But again, in case Hewitts is just getting here, this is the underside of the car. But that could have afforded a little silver paint there, maybe a little silver paint there, maybe silver up here would have been nice. But it is what it is. It's not bad. Certainly better than the GTO in terms of the chrome exhaust you got. But still, I would have preferred they did a matte chrome because this makes it look a little more toyish. Of course, it is a toy, but I do kind of wish there had been. I mean, if you wanted to, you could take weathering to this chrome and make it a little bit more weather beaten, because this car now, as it sits underside, looks more. I think it does look good. I agree with you. They've done a decent job on a lot of it. It's better than the GTO, where it was just a black slab. The bottom looks decent, and the front end actually does steer, in case you're tuning in. But you can only get so much play because the wheels are so dang big. The GTO actually was able to steer. These wheels are like huge, and this car is like supposed to be a lowered. That's why they call them G machines, because of the G forces and stuff. But guys, I've got to go. My friend is about to come, and I have to end this stream. I hope you enjoyed our live stream for the day, and I hope you're enjoying the channel as it is right now. And we always stream in the hot rod room, and we should have a lot more deliveries coming. Make sure you keep it under 100. Make sure you drive safe out there. It's nasty. Have a good one. J-Man 63 to my fellow J-Rods, I am signing out. That is a lot of the die-cast makers are doing better detailing. I do agree with you. However, I do wish the GMP cars, I wish GMP cars had more of this kind of interior on them, because I don't like the stock buckets and the Street Fighters they usually do. Sometimes they do the Street Fighters correctly, but it depends. But this G Machines is not a bad car by any means, and I think if you're a Hot Wheels fan, you should try and pick a few of these up. I want to get a few more. All right, have a good one. Bye.